and welcome back. I'm Terry Ann Porter, life coach TA, and today we're going to talk more about Toastmasters. My guest today is David Whitner. I had the honor and pleasure of meeting David through Toastmasters. Let me tell you, this guy, if you're in a club meeting with him, it's a lot of fun. You you get the work done, but you do it in fun, and it's been a pleasure to participate with you. Welcome, David. I'm so excited you're here.
Well, it's thrilling to be here, Terry Ann.
Well, first of all, let's start with the big question. How long have you been in Toastmasters?
I joined Toastmasters in 2005 as a new club was forming. I had considered joining Toastmasters or had been advised to join Toastmasters about 10 years before. I was, people told me for a long time that I had some bad habits when I talked to them, that I fidgeted, that I dropped in a lot of filler words, anyway, and so, uh, and I didn't make eye contact with people when I talked to them. So I was just an awful person to talk to, even though I met.
Oh my!
I probably first heard of Toastmasters when I was in college and took a speech class. I'm sure they mentioned it then, but for years, people told me, you need to go look for a Toastmasters club. You should join Toastmasters because you just need to get over all of this frustrating behavior when you talk to people. And I said, okay, fine. So it only took me about 10 years to look for a Toastmasters club. And then I learned that there was a club forming that looked like it would be a good fit for me. I joined that, and we reached charter strength of 20. I think we were at 21 or 22 members.
Oh, nice.
Reached charter strength on my 40th birthday.
Oh, what a celebration!
Yeah, I entered a new chapter in my life just as I was part of this Toastmasters club that helped me usher in that next chapter of my life.
Nice, nice. Well, now you've been in since 2005. That's a long time. Why? Why are you still here? I mean, you speak well. I've heard you multiple times, and I know that you've led a number of different things. I know you've spoken in many places. Why are you still here?
Well, that's a fascinating question. I haven't shaken off the Toastmasters experience. I'm reminded of something that a woman named Helen Blanchard, who was the first woman to serve as the president of Toastmasters International, said that if you get everything out of Toastmasters that you can get out of Toastmasters, you'll never get out of Toastmasters. I find myself still challenged with new things that I can improve upon. I know that those little things that drove me to Toastmasters, the fidgeting, the eye contact, the ums and uhs and uncertainty, and some of those little nervous behaviors still linger. So I'm certainly not the most polished person, but I know I probably will never get there. But what also drives me to stay associated with Toastmasters is how I can see other people grow. It's just magical sometimes to see the progress that a person can make as they become more comfortable talking about themselves, sharing what's relevant in their lives, and doing so in a more polished manner.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that. There's something, well, maybe a moment in Toastmasters that you thought was just really neat that would just really make somebody think, I really need Toastmasters?
A story that I come back to a lot is about a friend of mine who joined Toastmasters because he had a lot of agitation in his life. This was about 15 years ago. I arrived early for our Toastmasters meeting that evening, and as I walked in from the parking lot, I glanced through the window and I saw him in the room where we were going to meet. The facility housed a daycare during the afternoon, and I got in there. I introduced myself, and there was this young man who was just looked like there was something missing in his life. So he and I got acquainted. We put away the toys and the tumbling mats and set up the room for the Toastmasters meeting that evening. And he came back the next meeting, and I think it was that night that he decided to join. And he grew, and he kind of found himself in a lot of ways through this Toastmasters club. And after about 5 years, he stood up in front of the district at one of our conferences, and he sang the introduction to the inspirational message at the district luncheon. And this was somebody who had been tremendously withdrawn. And at that moment, he got up, he sang as he delivered this inspirational message. And I think it was at that same conference that he received recognition as a distinguished Toastmaster, the highest level
Wow.
of personal achievement in Toastmasters. And I was prouder of him for that achievement than I was when I earned the distinction of Distinguished Toastmaster, because it's not even about your own growth. It is about the growth that you see in other people that
Mm.
probably is more tremendous in its impact. For a lot of people, I've shared that story before, and people have said, yeah, I can relate to that, because mentoring people, supporting them through their development personally and in Toastmasters is a real gift.
I love that story. And I do know for my own self, seeing people like you and the people in my own personal club, and in fact, around the world, as they see growth in someone, they celebrate it. It's not a jealousy of, oh, how, look what they got. No, it's celebrating because they know the hard work that went into it. And they didn't do it alone.
Absolutely. Another experience that I recall was my first time attending the Toastmasters International Convention. That was about 10 years ago, and it was an Olympic year, so I guess it was 2012. The opening ceremony has a parade of flags of the nations that have Toastmasters clubs. And this occurred just a couple of weeks after the end of the Summer Olympics. And there was something tremendously touching about seeing all of these people unified from around the world in the celebration of communication and leadership. Whereas only a few weeks before, we saw people from around the world brought together to show who could run fastest and who could throw discuses the best, and who could fire, who could shoot arrows best and tumble best, and that it was all about competition against each other. But I love that in that particular moment we could celebrate that unity of the world. That people came from around the world to celebrate communication and leadership with a single purpose of improving improving themselves and the people around them.
Absolutely. Now, in the Toastmasters meetings, there's 3 different parts. We have the public speaking, the prepared speech, I guess, section. We have the impromptu speaking, we call it table topics, and we have the evaluations. What's your favorite?
I can't say that I'm really all that skilled at any of them. I suppose that I'm most comfortable with the prepared speeches portion, although that still takes a lot of improvement. There's a lot of room for me to improve myself there. Table topics is always a fun exercise. Ultimately, I think I've gained the greatest benefit from the evaluation portion of the Toastmasters meetings. I can't say that I'm really that good at delivering evaluations, but the evaluation portion has provided the greatest gift to me. I joined Toastmasters because without realizing it, I had a lot of self-esteem issues, and I didn't feel comfortable with myself in a lot of respects. The evaluation portion had provided me with feedback that gave me some insight into how other people saw me, and that was refreshing. It was encouraging. It allowed me to get outside my own head and see how other people see me. And that is easily the greatest gift I've gotten from my time in Toastmasters, is that it has given me some perspective on how other people see me and how other people see themselves.
I joined Toastmasters knowing I had some self-esteem issues. But I do like you. I like the evaluations. I do like the way they give the evaluations, the feedback. And it's not a, man, I can't believe you did that speech. I'm like, come on, who do you think you are? It's not that. It's not that. It's encouraging. It's uplifting. It's
Right.
very empowering the way they're given.
It is feedback. It is not criticism, because we try to frame things with
Mhm.
what you're doing well, what could improve, and then support the strengths. Reinforce that is critical. And I like to remind people that feedback has two parts. Is really about feeding back. That there's an exchange of energy there, that we need to keep positive, and we need to keep that creative, constructive, and so that everybody gains some larger understanding of themselves and what they can contribute.
Very good. I like that. I like that. My club, let me put this in here for just a moment. My club is about to celebrate 50 years. We're going to have our 50-year celebration here soon. And this is going to be part of sharing within that open house and that celebration why we are in Toastmasters.
Mhm.
We're going to be celebrating that. What is a celebration? What clubs are you in? What celebrations do you have?
Currently, I am a member of two clubs: Fountainhead Toastmasters, which meets on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays. And I'm also a member of Promo Toastmasters, which meets on the first and third Tuesdays. The club that brought me into Toastmasters was called Hear Me Out. And I was a member of that club for its entire 12-year lifespan, from when it founded in the summer of 2005 until we held our final meeting in December of 2017. When we decided to let that club fold, we made a point of celebrating that achievement, that we had managed
Nice.
to survive for 12 years with low membership a lot of the time, with some challenges from other from some other Toastmasters clubs, I think, for why we needed to why we survived, why we existed, and also unfortunately some indifference and some pushback from individuals and groups that we sought to build coalition with.
Mm-hmm.
We held a going away party, I suppose, as we retired that club, because in the 12 years we had several members who completed the distinction of the achievement of distinguished Toastmaster. We received a couple of levels of distinction over the course of those 12 years, and we transformed some lives, and
That's it.
has a lot of value. And that the retirement of a club like that should not be treated as some sort of shameful secret. We went out on a high note. Before before people just lost their love for leading.
Mhm.
And so it was a sad occasion, and it is something which almost 6.5 years later, I still grieve, because that
Sure,
was an important chapter of my life.
sure. What leadership skills have you learned in Toastmasters?
That is still debatable. What leadership skills? I recognize that I've never been very good at delegating.
Mhm.
Uh, and I've made some sport of my of my ability to uh, to delegate. However, I think that it has reinforced my skills as a collaborative leader, because it's never been important to me to be the boss, but it has reinforced uh, my largely unspoken goal to be a good servant leader and to find ways to support other people as they build their own skills. And that's been tremendously satisfying for me.
I think that must be why I like you. I can relate to that very well. That's
I can't tell people you got to do
where
that
we get along so
or
well.
else. That's right. Right. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would want someone who was not a Toastmaster to know about Toastmasters before we closed out?
There have been so many rich experiences I've gotten from my experience in Toastmasters over these, uh, holy smokes, almost 19 years. I've gotten to see the world, literally. I've gotten to attend a couple of Toastmasters international conventions, and I know people from around the world. Um, Probably about a third of the people I have as friends on Facebook are people I know through Toastmasters, many of them from places across the globe. So when
Mhm.
I see things in the news about what's going on in the world, I know somebody there. So it's the way it has allowed me to connect with people I would otherwise never got to intersect with, and hear people's stories. That that has given my life a lot of richness, the way it has allowed me to connect with people I would probably never cross paths with, and whose stories I would probably never take the time to hear,
I
so that
like
I can
that.
help them celebrate what's important to them, what's relevant, as they have spoken from their interests and experiences. That has their that practice for them has made my life richer.
I like that. Well, thank you so very much for joining me. This has been so much fun. I want to thank you for watching. If you would like to learn more about Toastmasters, go to toastmasters.org. And just on a little personal click, if you'd like to check out my Tower Talkers Toastmasters Club, 392.toastmastersclubs.org. Till my next friend joins us, I hope that you have a great day. Thank you, David. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Terry Ann.